Hello, Fluker family. This is Sherri Gray. I know it has been a while since I have posted a video, and I didn't know exactly how long, so I went back into my archives and I saw that it was December of 2023. I am in a different location right here. I am on travel with my husband, Devon. Sometimes he travels for work, and so I can tag along with him because my work is virtual or it's on the weekend. He's traveling on the weekend or whatever. And so I have that flexibility of being able to travel with him when he travels for work. I apologize if you hear the noise in the background. It is the AC in the room. So hopefully you can hear me over the AC. But I felt like this was a very important video to do. I have been thinking about doing it for a long time, or I've been thinking about what I could do to kind of reintroduce myself back into making frugal videos. And the topic I want to talk about in this video is estate planning. I know that it can be a big deal for people. A lot of people don't want to talk about it because it involves, you no longer being here. It's about legacy, people that are here when you're not here. It can be very emotional, charged conversation to have, but it is a necessary conversation. Some of you may or may not know that earlier this year, my mother passed away, and it just got me thinking about estate planning and the things that all of us need to have in place in order to really love our loved ones well. That's what I call estate planning, is your love letter to your loved ones, so that you have all the things you need in place, so that when something happens to you, not only just passing away, but if you're ever physically incapacitated, things that you need to have in place for documentation, paperwork, so that it is easier on your loved ones, okay? And if I look down a bit, I'm gonna look up and down, because I have typed out some notes so I don't forget. And before I begin, just know that I am not an attorney. I have no legal training in estate planning or otherwise. This is just for what I'm providing to you for informational purposes only, and it is up to you to seek the counsel of an attorney to create your estate planning documents and to create your estate plan. That being said, these are some things that I think every person should think about when they are creating their estate plan, and when they're thinking about the future, when, number one, they could be physically incapacitated where they can't make their own decisions, or they have passed away. First thing is insurances. You gotta have insurance. So there's all types of insurances. One type of insurance is life insurance. You want to have life insurance because when you pass away, that insurance is replacing the income that you would have made if you were here. Whether you have minor children, a spouse, anybody that depends on your income, it is important. Or even if you don't have anyone depending on your income, just final expenses, any debts that you may have, anything that you need to take care of financially, you need to have life insurance for. There are brokers out there who can shop around prices for you. But there are two different basic types of life insurance. They are term life insurance, and there's also whole life insurance. Just like the name suggests, term is for a specific amount of time. So it is traditionally cheaper than whole life on a monthly, premium basis, but it is for a certain period of time, 10, 20, or 30 years, typically. So that's something to keep in mind. Whole life is for your whole life, permanent insurance. So once you have it, you have it. It tends to be more expensive because it is for your entire life. You do your physical ones, and then that's it. I recommend, or I think, when you're younger, term life makes sense. When you're a little older like me, I'm over 50, it can be challenging because you may have more health issues, and you're just older, even if you're in perfect health. It's just your age. Just statistically, the actuarial tables and insurance providers going to say, what are the chances of you passing away is greater because you are older. So something to keep in mind. When you're younger term, when you're a little, older, maybe in your 40s, maybe think about transitioning to a whole life or a permanent life insurance policy. You also want to think about long-term care insurance. Long-term care insurance is insurance that it can be pricey as well as far as the premiums are concerned. but it works similar to life insurance, where you have a certain amount of money or a certain amount of benefits, whether it's $300,000, $200,000, $500,000, just like life insurance, and that pays out over a certain period of time, could be 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. So if you're ever in a situation where you need long-term care assistance in a facility or even in your home, you want to make sure your policy can do that, where you can have someone come in. That can help save you money. So you're paying your premiums every month, but if you're ever in a situation where you need some assistance physically, then long-term care insurance can be an option for you. Again, the younger you are, when you get it, the better. Any type of insurance helps you maintain your wealth so you're not dipping into your retirement or other savings that you may have. So insurance is one of those types of wealth protection that devices or vehicles that you want to consider. Also, disability insurance. A lot of people have this through their employer. I am self-employed, so I am in the process of getting disability insurance. Again, I'm over 50, so the premiums are going to be a little bit probably more than someone in their 20s, but that's okay. Because a lot of times you may be physically where you cannot perform your own job or occupation. So I will have me and my husband will have own disability insurance, which means if I cannot perform my own occupation, they will pay disability insurance again, so much per month for so many years. I think ours is like 5 years or 6 years. But it's up to you what type of policy that you want to get. So that's important. So if you're ever physically incapacitated where you cannot work in your own occupation, disability insurance is something that is important. Again, you can get it with your employer, but if you ever change employers, it may not, go along with you. So it could be an option to get it on your own. Again, using an independent insurance broker to shop around the best options for you. Next, insurance is identity theft protection. There's that goes without saying. There's so many people hacking into systems and getting personal data. You want to make sure your data is protected because it can affect you financially because you can open accounts in your name and credit in your name. And so this is also part of your estate planning to protect your wealth. Medical insurance. Everyone needs medical insurance. It has never been easier to get medical insurance in 2024. So if either with the employer, through the open market, please get health or / medical insurance because you don't know what's going to happen. If you're younger, if you're middle aged like me, if you're older, it doesn't matter. You need medical insurance because it's not the little things that can trip you up, but it's like the big ticket items as far as medical care is concerned that can really do harm to you financially. So medical insurance is important. Car insurance goes without saying. Again, you don't know what can happen. I live in Northern Virginia and people here drive crazy sometimes. So I've been in a few fender benders myself. Thank goodness, no major accidents. But if something happens to your car, whether it's your fault, the other person's fault, whatever it is, you want to have car insurance just to protect you. And home insurance, if you own a home. And even if you rent a home, you want to have renter's insurance. So home / renter's insurance. You want to make sure that you have that. So in case something happens to your home, also you want to insure your possessions. Something happens to things that are in your home. It's important as well. It may not even be anything that's valuable as far as a monetary number is concerned, but it can be something that's super sentimental to you. The next category of your estate plan should be your will. Now, will is a document that contains your direct wishes for your property and assets, as well as the care of your dependents. Okay. Again, use an attorney. A will still go through what they call probate court, because you still have to make sure all the wishes they have to ensure that all your wishes are taken care of, right? Everything that you've written out in your will. A part of your estate planning document when you create your will, you also need to have directives. You need to have a medical directive that tells your loved ones what you want to happen to you if you're ever, again, physically incapacitated and you cannot take care of yourself. You can make this as general as possible or as specific as possible. You want to also have a dependent directive where if you have minor children, who's going to take care of your children? Who's going to take care of your money or any assets that you leave behind? Who's going to be responsible for distributing that those assets, or that would be a trustee who's going to be responsible for that. So you want to make sure you have your will, but also your powers of attorney. Also, if power of attorney of someone who, again, who can access your assets if you're ever physically incapacitated, who's going to be the person that can go to your bank and make transactions on your behalf. So you want medical, financial, dependent directives in addition to your will. You also, depending on how complicated your estate is, you may want to consider a trust. It is more expensive to create a trust, but it can be more detailed depending on the assets you have. Again, this is something you can speak about with your attorney. And a trust, by definition, is a legal mechanism that lets you put conditions on how your assets are distributed after you pass away, and often minimize gifts and estate taxes. So sometimes people use it as a tax strategy where the people who are inheriting, your loved ones that are inheriting your assets, you can minimize their tax liability. Again, talk to an attorney, talk to a CPA to make sure this is the best avenue for you as far as an estate plan. Even with the trust, you can have a will in conjunction with your trust. So all of them can work in concert together, just so everyone knows what your wishes are. This is an important part of your estate planning as well. You want to make sure all of your documentation, as far as your bank accounts, your retirement accounts, your investment accounts, your real estate, all those documents, all those account numbers, where is everything? You don't want people going through all your documents trying to piece things together. You need to have everything in one place. I recommend like a safe, like a waterproof or fireproof safe of some type. I know that some people even have, I'm sure there's an app for that. If there's an app or some type of service that can hold all your documents for you, just make sure it's an organization or company that you know or trust, okay? This is very sensitive information, and you want to make sure that it is in the hands of people you trust. But please gather all of your documents, all of your assets, your deed, bank account information, and make sure for anything that has a beneficiary designation, like your retirement, money market account, it can be like a transfer on death designation. Anything that has a beneficiary designation or can have a beneficiary designation, please put someone's name on that. If you're married, it's traditionally your spouse. If it's your children, they can be your primary or your secondary contingent beneficiary, but you have to name someone. Now, if you do name beneficiaries, that can supersede the information or the information that you put in your will or your trust, because when your assets are distributed, they're going to go by your beneficiary designation first, and then they're going to go to your will. So you just make sure they're all working together and all the same. You don't want to name someone a beneficiary today and then 20 years later, they're no longer your beneficiary, because life changes, things happen, people get married, people get divorced, people pass away, all kinds of things happen. And maybe that person shouldn't be your beneficiary anymore, but you just forgot to update your documentation. Please, every year or every couple of years, please update and review your beneficiary designation on all of your accounts, and consider naming someone as a beneficiary or a transfer on death or payable on death designation for those things. Passwords. Okay. We have a password for absolutely everything. You need to have a safe place for all your passwords. If you're like me, I have so many passwords. Even your password on your phone. Like, I have an iPhone, and does your spouse know your passcode? Because we have this, biometric identification where it scans your face and all that. Maybe I changed my password in the past 30 days. I don't know, but your loved ones need to know what your passwords are for all of your online accounts, your email, just so they have access, even your phone, so they have access to those things. Keep your passwords in the same place, and make sure your loved ones know where your passwords are located. Again, where to keep your documents: fireproof or waterproof safe. And I'm sure, again, there's an app for keeping all these things together. I'm old school. So I know this was not a very jovial or happy topic to talk about. And I don't know if I said this at the beginning of the video. I may or may not have said it. But at the beginning of 2024, as of the recording of this video, it is June 22nd, 2024. In February 2024, my mother passed away. It was very challenging. So even now, it just takes, it's just challenging sometimes. But my mother had a lot of her documents together, a lot of things together, which was great. And so it just got me thinking, do I have all my things together? You know what I mean? And so there's some most I would say my husband and I were 80% there. We were 80%, but there are some things that we needed to add and needed to change up and tweak, and by in the next couple of months we'll be there. We'll be 100% there. It just got me thinking about the importance of estate planning. It's not just about a will. It's, you think about your car, your home, your bank accounts. It's your whole financial life, and even conveying what your wishes are before you are incapacitated is important, as far as your medical care, and also how you want things to go after you're gone is important. Your loved ones are going to grieve you, and they're going to be sad, and they're going to go through ups and downs no matter what. But please, I beg you, please make it easier on them by having your financial and estate planning house in order. It is so important. I can't even just impress upon you how important it is. It's because it's not for you. If you love your family, if you love your loved ones, please do this. Do this estate plan for them. And once you do it, it's done. Just revisit it every couple of years and make sure everything is updated. This is an important topic. This is something you have to take seriously. It is something that I take very seriously. And remember, Hello Frugal Family encourages you to embrace frugality, advocates for living on less than you make, and empowers you to give generously, save diligently, pay off debt strategically, and build enduring wealth.